touch wood. Touch a lot of wood.
Not having Zeka.
This whole desk is made of wood. I'm touching all of it. The whole, every bit, every plank.
It's okay. You're doing great.
You did say that though. You can confirm.
He's doing it. I can guarantee everyone.
Everything about it was touched.
He's not. This is not a bit. He's trying his best to really get on every piece of wood he can get his hands on, because we want a third game.
Exactly. And Carsicus, even though they're not real, says Chronicler, they're real and they will come for you.
Well, you know, it's just our brains. This is a whole lot of conversation.
What brains?
That's actually a very good question.
Another valid one.
Particularly when it's you and me on the desk. So, game number 2. There won't be any Yoneing. I also think that, as many have highlighted, that first draft for Hanwha Live, very close to best in slot across the board for that team. You could nitpick a little bit, but realistically, I think that they were extremely happy that they got that, as the Taliyah is banned away. And we all know what that means. It's Azir first pick, so Hanwha Live says, no, not allowed.
Kalista.
Yep, Kalista is the no-brainer, but Poppy is open. I do think the Taliyah ban actually also makes the Kalista better. I feel like if you're playing as both Poppy and Taliyah, you don't get to play the game. We have seen the Kalista not be quite as consistent, because it is always picked early because it is so strong, which also means that teams can tailor their compositions to play into it.
And this is like, there are a couple of schools of thought. We saw the Kalista Renata actually get dominated by the Caitlyn lane earlier on in the week. The other school of thought is to take away the Renata, and of course, Delight very good at that, and the Xin Zhao is now picked away from Oner in the same rotation.
Yeah, to me, this is really a slam dunk. You're going to play into Carry as Nico, most likely, which is a nightmare, but you pick away the Xin Zhao from Oner. You also get a guaranteed way to lock down the Kalista with the third auto on his Q, and I think Renata and Xin Zhao are crazy good together.
Oh, this would be sick.
That's so T1. Are they bringing it back? We talked about it.
There it is.
With lane swaps being gone. We were talking about this, the possibility of these extremely bot lane focused lanes. And we'll see. Most likely this is going to be Kalista, AD Carry, and Ashe support. Ashe support, I think, does still make more sense with the Lethality build coming a little bit back into vogue, but I don't think that that's what we're going to be seeing. The Mbessa is locked in here, and T1 will also most likely be able to protect Doran with some bans. The Renekton is a must ban, as Zeka...
Is it just like a Zeka power pick world tour? That was what we were looking at for a moment. The Jax instead now considered, and they will lock that one away as the answer to the Ambessa that was locked in here. Still theoretically a flex pick, as Faker could be playing it in the mid lane, but we haven't seen it nearly as much in mid more recently.
There is, so what they do here is they guarantee that Zeus is a matchup he's comfortable with. There are also worlds where theoretically, we know Jax is a good matchup into Xin Zhao, right? Maybe they want to try and deny it to Oner. Could be a secondary thought. Main thing is, Zeus is a great Jax. The matchup is solid enough. Not quite as impressive as something like a Renekton, but Jax obviously has a lot more longevity. As the Poppy ban still is really funny to see. Oner is obviously an amazing Poppy, but we have really only seen the champion consistently picked in support, which, who knows at this point. Maybe it's Doran playing Kalista top and Faker's play. T1 kind of have a tendency to just throw all of us off, as Akali and maybe also a Sylas ban, because what Hanwha is going to do is they're going to pick an AD Carry on 4, and they're going to give counter pick to Zeka. And I don't think that you ever want to be in a situation where Zeka gets counter pick on either Akali or on Sylas, because he has been known to be pretty good at those two champions, and he has also been known to play very, very well really in like what the last year and a half, 2 years. As there is the AD Carry ban, so Sylas does remain up, which leads me to believe that Faker's going to pick something that has a decent matchup into it.
Yeah, not a whole lot of options. Of course, Taliyah is one of the premier choices. As Helios would be weird.
It's not a champion. That's not real. We don't believe it until it is locked in.
And we don't believe it until Doc Dom.
There it is.
As that is a Caitlyn. Far more expected, and will be the lock-in here. Caitlyn Renata into the Kalista Ashe most likely.
As far as 2v2s goes, I don't think it's the craziest. Obviously with Caitlyn, you always want something that can actually set up for the traps. Renata doesn't quite do that, but it makes sense in the context of how this draft has shaken out. And I still think that with the Xin Zhao, with a really strong 3v3 setup.
Well, the Victor being considered for Faker. I was thinking that maybe they could do some like AP jungle shenanigans as well with like a Lilia option if they would like to, but instead it's tried and true.
Ooh, what is it going to be here? Because the Poppy would have actually been great because, as we know...
Talon is obviously the choice.
It's a setup for dives, right? Like, going back to 2023, BLG was another team that was exceptional at this, at setting up early game dives off of the back of a strong 2v2 with that Poppy specifically, as we will see what ends up. I talked about this pick earlier. It is actually going to be Jarvan. I don't think this is necessarily the craziest Jarvan angle that I've seen, but this champion does have crazy good early ganks. Literally starting level 2, you have the capability of going for extremely strong ganks. But you are playing into... Caitlyn does actually is a way of getting out of your ultimate, which is always one of the things you look toward. So we'll see. I think T1 definitely taking some liberties again. It's going to be Keria on their support. It's going to be Oner on the GA4. Whereas for Hanwha Life, you look at this draft and you go, well, they don't have engage support, but outside of that, that's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's another one of these cases where HLE got kind of all of the things on the second rung that they would like to pick up. You saw their previous draft, that was just above what they have just put together now, but there is a lot of comfort for these champions as well. And the Victor pick, a big question mark for me, just because they knew Sylas was likely to be coming, and we've seen Sylas picked as an answer into Victor all week, and it's been working pretty well. So, I mean, Faker has a lot of mastery on this champion. I don't think doubting the GOAT is ever a good idea, but does seem a little suspect. We'll just have to see whether the gameplay is going to be able to show us exactly why that was the priority.
Faker's going to have a better performance than last game. Definitely got outclassed in the previous one. But again, a very brawly composition here. The laning phase, though, of that bot lane, that's going to be where we're going to be looking. How can Oner impact that lane? How much can Smash and Keria get done? Because the team fighting for Hanwha Life, I think, is again going to be a big problem here.
Yep, I would agree. As this is another beautiful draft put together by HLE. T1, let's see whether they can bring us to 3 games. We jump into the rift. All right. It is a bit of an arcane matchup as well, which is very, very fun. Given the Victor versus Caitlyn situation. And one very cool thing is that Oner is shouting out Cyanide, former Fnatic jungler, just because Smash played with Reckless for so long. You just love to see it. You love to see it.
Is that your headcanon?
That's my headcanon, and I don't care who knows it.
You've also forgot about Mbessa. She's also an arcane character.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it feels like, you know, the Caitlyn versus Victor thing is
it's the more enticing.
Yeah.
Oner
so Renata and Mbessa are both also arcane.
Well, I think Renata, isn't she like in the background at because obviously the Cam Barons play a big role, but more.
That's what I thought.
Not quite as
Wasn't
in your face.
She was the one that she was like sort of supporting cast like through a lot of it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Although you didn't watch like season 2 for like 400 years. Have you still not watched it?
Still have not watched season 2.
My God,
There's a lot of other great anime that I got to get through.
This is your job. We're gonna pause. Just you go and watch it. Doesn't want to watch season 2 ever, and has decided, in fact, that he doesn't really care about the LCK at all. Care to explain yourself, or?
I'm not going to reply to such.
You're right here. You can defend yourself.
No, such crazy slander.
If I'm lying, you can say so.
I will not dignify that with a response.
And we all know what that means. We all know what that means. That means, Max, you are correct, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Is that Love Actually? I feel like I can remember Colin Firth saying that in a movie. I just don't know which movie.
I mean, that could have been so many. Maybe it was Bridget Jones's Diary instead.
I think it might be Bridget Jones, yeah.
I mean, they both have Hugh Grant and Colin Firth, so it's just hard to know.
I feel like I should know that. Well, again, I guess I also should watch season 2 of Arcane. So,
you know, Hugh Grant has actually one of my favorite actor arcs, very similar to that of Harrison Ford, where the amount they care has just diminished with age. But the amount they also worry about it is equally as diminished, as we have a bit of a fight here towards the bottom side. Smash getting taken down to 50%. But thankfully, he can communicate with the rest of his team about it without any hindrance.
Well, it's important to express your emotions. You know, you can't just bottle them up.
Exactly.
As we do see,
like people that you know, talk about whether or not they definitely don't want to watch Season 2 of Arcane or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Both sums used here for Viper and Delight. In return, so they did gain a favorable summoner trade. Zeka, as expected, is really suffering here. Faker also going for Grass, particularly in these ranged versus melee matchup. Gonna get a ton of value there.
All right, it's been over a year since we've had a Jarvan game. That feels crazy.
That does feel crazy.
Huh. And it was Oner taking on Canyon that time around, as Zeka with Kingslayer able to get a bit of health back, but otherwise is in a bit of trouble. Going to be teleporting back early. And sort of talking about being in trouble. The last time we saw the Kalista, it was really shoved in quite aggressively by the Caitlyn, of course. The matchup was different. And this time, the Kalista with the Ashe is looking to be working out quite well. As Faker, this could be a problematic scenario, as Zeka is in a little bit of trouble, but never mind. Picks up the first blood. Top of the morning to you, says Peanut. As in the meantime, it's a nice handshake back. The Peacemaker as well from Viper able to help out with this trade, but still a lot of control.
That was so clean. As it Keria, I thought, yeah, ghosted there at the beginning of that as well. Yeah. No, that was so clean there from Humble Life. All right, Zeka, very low, goes in, so they go for the point-blank setup with the E to ensure that there's no way that Faker gets out. Peanut with the CC as well. That's, again, an early leader, and I do want to reiterate, no plate has fallen yet. The last time we actually saw these double AD carry bot lanes, they would be getting plates like 2 minutes in, right? When it was the peak, the double Halo Blades meta. Thus far, still we're seeing a small lead for Smash, but they need to keep this pressure up and really maintain and actually start getting plates as well, because obviously the scaling is going to be a bit rough. As we take another look here, goes in with the Kingstar as
Yep, never mind. Peanut, he is on the map yet again. This time Oner is going to turn up, but Smash. Oh, Peanut goes in, flashes out immediately. Not caught under the turret, as well as Oner gets the EQ flash, but doesn't hold him in range of that turret. Another chain going to connect here onto Faker, who does have the gravity field. But it is still a lot of damage done here by this Silas, feeling so much better after a handy first blood.
And Peanut having a crazy... Oh my god.
Okay. There's too much stuff happening, Chronicle.
Really is. Yeah, they're up.
Oh,
1k gold.
Yeah, Cannon getting denied here by Doran, as there's the flash with the counter-strikers. Zeus looking for more, but decides instead he is happy with that. However, Doran didn't even use his flash. So actually it's kind of okay, but it is a Cannon in advantage.
It's flash for Cannon. It's so worth.
Yeah, 4 gold is the lead as well, am I right? Doran actually playing this really well.
Good use of the sustain of Mbessa there. Jax this early on, not quite as threatening when it comes to the damage. Viper and Delight have now arrived and obviously are ahead of the play given how the early game played out. Just taking a look, the timing from Peanut here, just impeccable. Go in there, and even with the W not hitting, Smash still gets taken down, and Oner just a split second too late. If he can catch Peanut underneath the tower there, they get a counter kill. Might have been worth, but instead, the gold lead getting bigger and bigger. Nicely set up there as well by Viper and Delight. And this is the one risk you do run when you are running these continuously shoving lanes, is that you are susceptible to gank. Viper also early Dirk now. Do expects him to just go towards that very early Collector.
Yep, Collector IE pretty good as far as that 2-item spike. And Delight and Peanut getting to work on these grubs. It looks like we're not going to have Oner actually go for anything here. There's another Counter-Strike, this time with Grandmaster's Might from Zeus, but this time doesn't have access to his flash. Try and back that one up, and Doran just dashes his way out, as Mbessa is wont to do.
Oh, this gank is really important. But look at that. Zeka's there. They can't really go for it until they have confirmation that he's gone.
There are a lot of bases that have been covered here by HLE, and of course, they did see Oner on Vision there at the same time. I'm pretty sure they're not going to come up, clear out the control ward. When becomes Lightning does not take down Keria or hit him. As Doran once again going to get engaged on. Zeus looking for another angle, as Doran just constantly having to deal with this Jax being a nuisance. but he's actually just doing fine as far as farm is concerned. More fighting here in the mid lane. Chaos Storm's going to be traded. Good gravity well once again from Faker.
Still, Zaka's going to be extremely happy with the trade. Silence is one of those champions where even if you lose the short-term trade, right, you have so much build and sustain.
Oh, public execution here onto Zeus as Doran seeing whether he can get it done. Does have minions to contend with as well. And Zeus is just going to say thanks for that and go home.
I think Zeus should have been dead there because he didn't actually have E.
Yeah.
But he clearly did not think so, and so did Doran's Peanut.
Oh yeah, when becomes lightning, Keria in a bit of trouble, but not going to be dead just yet.
Oh, wow, Keria with the restraint there, not actually going to use his flash, just uses the ghost to deny the third auto. But the damage is already done, right? Like, he is low. Peanut might be able to set up the classic Q there on the turret, and there it is.
Yeah, looking for Smash here, and he's trying to dance his way out. Peanut's going to be dead, although the bailout is going to come in. It's just not going to do anything, so Smash is going to be able to lock that one down. Ace in the hole comes in from Viper, but isn't actually going to grab any kills. So a 1-for-1.
That's a great trade. Yes, Peanut's camps are up. He's going to suffer a little bit for this, but you take Smash out of the game again. And these targeted ganks from Peanut, a really big difference. Oner was the only one that was actually able to match his opponent in game number 1, but this time around, Peanut really doing a number on every lane except top, and it's Zeus, so he is just kind of winning that one by himself. As we take a look here, hits the win, becomes lightning, means that he easily gets the setup, and then again, the damage is already done because of that gank. Keria's low, and yeah, he has his flash, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't really provide any value here. Smash, it's level 6, but it doesn't make a difference, and that's what we're talking about. The thing with Xin Zhao is you can just charge your Q on the turret and then very easily get that set up. You do get the flash out of Viper here from Oner, which is nice, but nice isn't really going to cut it with how this early game has been playing out.
Yep, you need to do a whole bunch more. Of course, mid-game fights are going to be something that T1 can rely on. They have the Fate's Call and things like this with Smash on his Kalista. Is the arrow going to get a flash out from Delight here as well towards his top side? And now that these level 6s have come in, maybe it's a time for T1 to fight back. The problem is HLE today just look like a completely different team to what we've seen from the last week and a half.
Maybe the first-hand hangover has finally worn off.
Yeah.
I know all those habits that were ingrained in them.
They took an aspirin. They definitely did. Or maybe some hair of the dog. You never know. Okay, Doran once again going in, but Zeus is just going to bonk him. Does get the shield. And the flash forward, it's answered, but the answer echoes into nothingness as Zeus grabs the solo kill on the bottom side.
That one's personal. Multiple plates falling as well. I'm pretty sure Zeus autoed a minion somewhere in that whole equation as well.
Oh dear.
Didn't even matter.
Insult meeting injury.
Yep, really did. And I do think, again, T1, this composition still has a good amount of team fighting power. Their engage is decent with the Ash Arrows, plus the fact that they have a Jarvan. But if they fall too far behind, they are just going to run into a giant meat grinder. As we take another look, so much damage to come through. There is the auto and the minion, and then the flash-empowered auto, and it's an auto attack. It can't flash that.
Yep, and the fact that he just waits for the shield to wear off, and then immediately the flash does come in. It does mean that Doran probably had a bit of a heads up as to what was going to happen there. Not actually able to outplay it and flash early. Wanted to make sure that he wasn't just flashing away without any response. So that would have been better.
They're about to get 6 grubs out, Bliss. We know what the stats say about that.
No. Are they going to buck the trend? Are they going to make it so that 6 grubs isn't an absolute detriment here in the LCK?
Well, they...
or worldwide, should I say?
Well, they haven't given up a dragon, which normally is, you know, what I think makes that equation a little iffy.
Yeah, it's the giving up of anything.
That hasn't really transpired yet. No, I'm with you.
Well, Doran now just going to try and answer here.
They need to find a big outplay. They need to find a foothold back into this game because Humble Life is snowballing it very aggressively.
Yeah, the Demacian jungler face-off is possibly going to happen.
This is the problem. If they don't dive, like, Oner can't do anything. The only reason that he was there, because if they do try to dive, he can counter-engage. But instead, he can't counter-gank because they just have a 6 grubs Caitlyn autoing the turret.
Well, Doran can at least deal with this wave very, very quickly. Going to look to continue trying to put on some pressure as T1, they rotate their lanes around. They've got solos in the side lanes. And they've set up with their double AD carry in mid. Teleport comes in. The back, is it actually going to be in time? No, it's not, because he cancels it. And Doran, waiting in the brush, just going to dance away from Zeus as best he can. The counter-strike comes in, though, and Doran is just going to have to evacuate. An odd state of affairs, but just wanting to teleport over towards the top side. Anyway, it was Zeus, and so it just really doesn't matter too much. There's teleport coming over from Faker as he heads towards the top side. And that's going to be their answer to this Jax that is very problematic. He just teleports into the top lane, takes one wave, and then he's back out once again.
Now we have Zeka moving towards the top half. They really want to ensure that they keep this matchup because obviously Zeus is stomping Doran so far. Zeka also wants to keep laning into Faker. Rod of Age is done now. There is the early collector that we were expecting here from the Viper. And for T1, I think there needs two things need to happen. First, you need to actually get some of these summoners, because with the summoners up, I think the fight's going to be very hard to play out. I think a lot of what makes T1's comp so strong is that you have things like Yash Arrow, you have the Flag and Drag, you have the ultimate from Jarvan as well that can lock up targets. You can layer on top of that.
Oh dear.
But if they have Flash, getting that is a very nice, like, theoretical plan, but putting it in practice is
yeah, it can be a little bit
harder.
Eclipse is done here for Doran, so actually in that little moment did have a slight lead as far as item power, but Zeus is going to be very, very close to his Trinity Force. Faker now in this top lane. Zeka with the Chaos Storm in hand will be able to get this lane shoved up. And T1, you can see, licking their wounds is what it kind of feels like at this stage of the game. And it's not what this comp wants to be doing right now. They want to be putting the pressure on.
It's so interesting because I think the bot lane doesn't scale, but the top half of the team scales insanely well, right? Like, Mbessa gets so much free stats from her ultimate. She's a late game powerhouse, although so is Jax. I feel like in that 1v1 is not the best.
Oh dear. Speaking of 1v1s, Faker and Zeka at it once again as the arrow is going to sail by. In the meantime, another fight as Smash flashes over the wall. And the handshake onto Oner is going to get his flash as well. Peanut, he's over there, he's going in, and Oner is going out. That is the Peacemaker to lock him down. And a pick going over, a second one here for Viper is such a worry here for T1 fans.
Yeah, that expression by Oner really says it all. One of the biggest advantages that T1 have in their matchups against Gen.G in particular, we've seen them show this against Hanwha as well, is how crisp their early to mid games are.
Oh, another flash from Zeus, and another solo kill from this Jax. It's hostile takeover to try and get Faker as Peanut. He goes in, and the ace in the hole is going to clean up a killing spree for Viper. This time, Peanut isn't even going to die, as that volley not nearly enough damage, and HLE are just running over T1 today.
Yeah, it's cooked. Barring a miracle, when T1 isn't winning early skirmishes, you know things are not on their best form. You know, players are normally so synced up, but right now, understandably, I think the Renata to me is the key piece to this. The fact that Peanut can play like a psychopath like that is because they have the bailout, because there is the threat of the ultimate. This is unfortunately an exhibition of why Zeus is considered pretty good at the video game. And then here, Faker gets the stun, walks off the ultimate, and then still just gets hit by both Peanut and Viper because every lane is in a dire state. Well, life is just snowballing across the map, and our expectations were pretty high for this match here after the Giga banger that was T1 versus Gen.G. And Atlas, I think that we are going to be denied an entertaining series because this game is like the thing way more of a blowout.
Yeah, we've also already had HLE versus Gen.G. That was in like week 1. So
it was also not great.
Yeah, it wasn't. And now HLE have decided to wake up, and just in time, as we can see, as Keria is likely in trouble.
They need a turn.
Oh, Faker is
this the one?
Having some issues. This time HLE do have the inside track towards this topside fight, and Faker is very, very dead. So he's the first one to go down. Zeka grabbing yet another kill for himself. And the rest of HLE really just wanting to know who they want to kill next. That is kind of the question. It's a smorgasbord here for these guys, as it's going to be Peanut taking down the Rift Herald. That is going to be the option that they go with.
So T1 got Viper's Flash.
Hey, there you go.
That's it, Atlas. That's all.
Well, Oner is now looking to see whether he can get some sort of steal. Keria is in a little bit of trouble, but there is Fate's Call available here.
A Hail Mary, perhaps?
All right, Zeus going in. And the fact that he is here is very, very scary. But now, possible skirmish angle as there's the public execution. Gets Doran into that backline as Oner is going to be taken out in a second. But it's traded for Zeus, and that's a lot of money over to Smash. As a 1-for-1 in that isolated incident. However, Peanut going in, looking for Doran as Viper is going to turn up, layering these autos on top. But he does get himself the shield, gets himself out as now Zeka fighting against Smash. Smash having a lot of mobility, not hit by the chains is really, really important. Wind becomes lightning, but doesn't become hitting Keria. And so Rift Herald just going to be thrown into the mid lane. But otherwise, I mean, honestly, as far as defense is concerned, T1 probably wasn't going to go much better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I'm right there with you, Atlas.
Cup's half full, baby.
It is. Maybe we can make it happen. Even the patented Faker in the side lane is actually a bait. Is not a bait. Actually, doesn't end up going the way of T1. And then here, the biggest thing for me is that this re-engage. Look at the health of Smash and Keria. I think they understand they desperately need to do something. If Zeus has mana, he probably kills both of them there, unfortunately. Because we haven't even talked about this yet, but you're playing Jax into double AD carry.
Yeah.
Which is a big problem. And even with all that investment, it ends up being a favorable trade for Hanwha Life, who are also going to be, and this is the key thing for me, in a great position to pick up a soul point, yet again, for Mountain Soul.
Oh, God.
And the one thing that Hanwha Life, outside of, I think the Engage obviously isn't amazing, but they can even use the tools stolen with Silas to make that work.
Well, this is their Engage. It's Peanut go in, and then everything else is layered on top. Faker just caught out in his own jungle. Will just get eradicated.
Yeah, at this point, we're going to need to see Hanwha Life have a big throw at an Otacon, at a Baron, because T1 is not in control. They haven't been in control of this game for a little while, to be fair, but, you know, we always like to be a little bit safe over statements.
Yep.
I feel safe.
Well, so does Zeus. Keria does not feel safe, however, is going to be able to ghost and look for a way out. They're still slowing him down as Oner comes in, looks to try and catch the escape there from Viper, but unfortunately it doesn't quite work. Keria gets out with the Fate's Call. Public Execution gets Doran in there as there's a hostile takeover, as it's a battle between Keria and Smash, and Keria actually dies to Smash's red buff. Oh, it's a disaster. Zeus is going to suicide under the turret. Largely looking like a celebration here, though, as in goes Peanut once again.
Zeka, no!
Yep, Smash not going to get another 1v1 with Zeka, as he is just allowed to live.
Nice.
Yeah, well played.
You, Zeka.
That was so sad, wasn't it? Watching the Ashe and Callista just kill each other.
Well, that, but also just the whole tragedy of, like, Oner going in, and then ulting onto Viper, who doesn't have flash, missing the flag and drag, but even missing the flag and drag doesn't matter. And at T1, at this point, you're going for Hail Marys, right? Like, you don't really have a big angle in this game, so they try to go for the play, go in on Viper, then he ease out. Flag and drag doesn't work, which is one of the issues we talked about. But Zeus also zones Smash and Keria, so it doesn't end up really making that big of a difference. And then here, the betrayal!
Oh, no.
Keria ends up going down.
That's very tragic. Zeus also does go down, so there's at least that consolation prize, but it's not much consolation prize, guys.
And the rest of this replay is, there's a Dutch expression, which is mustard after a meal, which is like, what's the point? Like, why is it there?
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't need to be.
Was it because you didn't notice the mustard and you could have used it?
I assume the origin of it is that you forgot about the mustard, and then afterwards,
You're like, wow, that sausage really could have done with some mustard.
Because, yeah, we love mustard, and the Dutch cuisine is not very elevated. You know, it's just potato, sausage, meat.
And honestly, it's delicious, and it probably was delicious anyway.
No, of course it is. But the mustard, you know, unless you're doing a cheese plate, which I feel like is like a whole different thing, you're not bringing out mustard for dessert.
Wait, cheese plate with mustard? Is that normal?
Yeah.
Huh. I think it's something like
that, or like apple syrup.
Yeah,
but like the thick one, you know, not syrup as in the pouring
like some quince paste, perhaps.
Yeah, like, I assume we're talking about the same thing. Like the black gooey apple. Yeah, wonderful.
Well, Zeka's looking for a little bit of an angle here.
So they get Otacon.
Yep. Well, they haven't yet. but it's not likely to be stolen.
This is not the series I was expecting today.
No, not at all. I thought we were having a 6-game banger today.
Well, can still be a 5-game banger.
I mean, the next series, there is no chance that that one's not going to 3. Right?
Well, I mean, I think it will be 3. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
I'm starting to think that, you know, call me crazy, but this one might not be.
No, I'm
annoyed. Agree. I was expecting a fun, cool game, and instead it's just 2 blowouts. Viper stutter stepping in mid lane.
The thing that I do like about this is the fact that our first stand champions are actually looking like one of the best teams in the LCK.
Yeah.
Which is great to see.
Because they didn't do that for the last 2 weeks. Now that's valid.
I imagine those around the world that are, you know, maybe fans of other regions as well are kind of happy that, you know, the team that dominated without looking challenged at all in that international tournament are also looking like they're able to play like that in their own region as well. You know?
Really a glass half full kind of guy.
I really am. Not for Keria and his ability to survive. However, he does have a Fate's Call. It is going to keep him alive for now. Zeus doing that thing where he kills Doran.
Up 2 levels.
As Arrow is going to sail by. Looked majestic in the meantime. As Oner's going to turn up and Zeus says, hi, buddy. It's good to see you again. Smash able to sidestep. The wind becomes lightning, but I just don't know whether that means anything at all. As, yeah, Faker versus Zeus here, Zeka, towards the bottom side of the map. Chaos Storm comes out. Zeka says, all right. And he'll leave. This is slow and steady destruction of all of T1's stuff. And HLE look to be able to do it with impunity. 9,000 gold is the advantage. A teleport right into the enemy jungle as HLE stealing away all of the buffs at the same time. This inner, not long for the world, and it's the last one remaining. 6 turrets to 0. As the 6 grub stats are getting decimated. If this is going to be a victory here for HLE.
If. Only if, Atlas.
Yeah. And, you know, it's still 50-50. Because there are 2 teams, both of them want to win the game, and one of them will win the game.
Yeah.
And so you divide it by 2, right? Still 50-50. 10,000 gold lead for HLE.
I got nothing, Atlas.
Yeah, neither do we, and neither does T1, as it seems.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, when the Nexus falls, we can bring out the usual cope. I think T1 definitely took some liberties in draft. But for me, what really today caught me off guard is not the fact that Humble Life is winning. Obviously, I think their form of T1 looked better coming in. But it's specifically that the things that have made T1 so good have been their synergy, right? Particularly Oner and Keria, I think, have been looking really great thus far. And I think in game number 1, Oner tried his best, didn't actually end up mattering too much. But Keria trying to go back to an old favorite does not end up working out. And I think that this Baron is about to herald the end of this game, Atlas.
Yep. They're trying to keep Zeus out, but Zeka will find Doran in the side. Not going to find too much more, though, as now Zeus may have bitten off more than he could chew. Smash throwing some sticks into him, and I think Zeus is likely to die. However, gets underneath this turret, and now Oner is the one that's in the wrong position. No more smite for you, T1, as now Peanut can freely take down the Baron. Zeka going to go golden as well, buy some time. Hostile takeover is so good here from Delight, and Zeka is going to take advantage of it. Smash will be taken down as well, as Zeus just bonks him with a lamppost. And Keria, that is not your turret, buddy. That is a clean ace, as well as the Baron over to HLE.
HLE with a statement series here, Atlas.
My God.
Yeah, we didn't look that good the last week and a half. Yeah, Gen G 2-0 does.
And this is the main thing that's the most terrifying out of HLE, is the fact that they can look like anything on one day and then just do this. It matters not. The momentum and all of that stuff that we say, all that garbage about, like, oh, they did this well in this game, and so that is going to mean that they're going to do better here. Doesn't matter for HLE. At any moment, this could happen.
Yeah, the state of the game that they can just have Zeka take on multiple members. Zeus draws as much attention as he does while they're taking Baron is really, frankly, absurd. Then Delight with the flash ult buffer to ensure he doesn't need to do that. They win this fight.
Yep.
10 out of 10 times.
He just wants to make sure that no one dies.
They're just styling on them. And for T1, we can talk about the draft. We can talk about all the other
Do we have to?
Well, that's my point, right? But the reality is, it's just the gameplay. Night and day.
Oh, nice flash there from Faker. Does not matter, as in the 1v2, Zeka is absolutely going to kill everyone. The dash over, and doesn't even need the chains to land. The double kill does come in. Back-to-back solos here from Zeka as Keria is in trouble. That is going to be Peanut locking that one down. Was that 1v3 sort of thing? I mean, the wallets are so heavy, it's absurd. As Doran goes in and then he goes out. Fire the Death Chamber as Zeus spinning around, twirling the lamppost as these Nexus turrets are going to fall one after the other. Zeus not even going to die to the fountain here as Viper looks for the Peacemaker, does not connect it as the hostile takeover is going to annoy Smash momentarily. Peanut thrown in because the Fate's call was stolen away in HLE.